everybody, welcome back. We are here for my March wrap-up. So it is, I have about a week left of March, maybe like 4 days left, so I'm not 100% done with everything, but I have finished all of the physical books that I checked out from the library, plus a few other things, so I thought, let's just do the damn thing. So I'll start with like audiobooks and ebooks. There are 2 things I have not quite finished yet, but I am very, very close. So the first one that I haven't finished is the audiobook of Redemptor, which is the second book in like the Ray Bearer duology. I have about like an hour and a half left, so I'm gonna finish that by the end of like by the time this goes up. So I'll just kind of talk about that right now. I generally liked it a lot. I don't think it's as good as Ray Bearer. It is, like I said, with Ray Bearer, it is like really slow in some spots, and then it speeds up a little bit, then it gets really slow again. So it can be kind of tough to like go through, but I would say overall it's still very enjoyable. I don't know how it's going to end since I still have about an hour and a half left, but now that I'm like towards the end, everything is moving pretty quickly and it is very good. I would say overall I would give it a 4.5, just because there's so many parts where it is kind of slow because of it's a big focus on Tarisai building her council, or like her like trying to convince all these like rulers of all of these places to be like her council siblings. So like that's a big part of it, along with some other political things that happen in their world. So that gets a little bit slow, but once she gets to where she needs to go, it starts to pick up. I will say also, in my February wrap up for talking about Ray Bearer, how I was like hoping they would kind of build more on the Ace character. They did, and I really appreciate it. They talked a little bit more about that when he's like, oh, do you want like kids and stuff? She's like, no, what about you? He's like, oh, I kind of like don't feel that way about people. Like, I love them, but I don't like want the sexy times with them, and like I don't want kids and stuff. So it was nice to see that they built on that Ace character. I thought it was really nice to see. And that is to say that just because someone's Ace, that doesn't mean they can't be in a relationship of any sort, or like they can't have like feel love and stuff for others, because it's like a spectrum and all that. So it was just though really nice to kind of see them flesh out that character a little bit more, about them being like, oh, that's not for me, like I love you but I don't have sexual feelings for you, kind of a thing. So that was pretty nice to see. So that's, I really liked that. What I was hoping for that to do, they did do that. So yeah, I do enjoy it, but I don't like it as much as Ray Bearer. So there's that. But it's still a really great duology. Overall, I would give both books together 5 stars. But I think Redemptor is just going to get like a tiny bit lower, just because it is quite slow. You have to get through her trying to become besties with certain people. I did like the Songland rulers like story. I really enjoyed that within the book, and seeing the progression of Tarisai being able to befriend Songland rulers. I really like that. So there's that. The other book that I'm not quite done with, and I'm not sure if I will be able to finish it, is Bestiary. I'm about 33% in, and I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it so far. Like, it's really interestingly written, but also like I'm having a hard time like making sense of what I'm reading because it's a lot of like metaphor and symbolism. I will say check trigger warnings and content warnings for basically all the books that I've mentioned, because there is a few things that might be a little bit touchy for some people and a little bit hard to have. Like with Redemptor, there's like some mental health content warnings, and there's like blood and war and fighting and stuff, so just for that. Bestiary, there's a lot of like bodily fluids that is being talked about, so definitely content warning on that one. Like there's a lot of like poop, pee, some vomit. It's a lot of like, I don't want to necessarily say body horror in Bestiary, but it's a lot of body parts and excretions and stuff like that, so watch out for that. But once again, I'm only a third of the way in, and so I'm not really sure how I feel about it. If I finish it, I will annotate it somewhere or include it somewhere that how I feel about it, but I don't know, we'll see if I finish it by the end of the month. If I don't, you'll hear about it in my like TBR for the next month. And then the other two things that I read from Libby on my phone is I finally finished A Phoenix First Must Burn, which was the anthology of a bunch of Black authors, where it was a bunch of like sci-fi short stories and fantasy short stories. One, it was very hard for me to get through, so I only gave it a 3.5 because there were some short stories that I really liked and really wanted them to be like full stories and really fleshed out, because I was into it, and there was a bunch of other stories that were not good for me, that was just kind of like And there were a couple of stories that were very similar to each other that I feel I wouldn't have included both of them within the same anthology. I would have probably had them not included one or the other. But there were some that were really good, and some that were just kind of like, So if you are a fan of short stories, definitely it would be up your alley. If you're like me and like kind of iffy on short stories, it might be a little iffy for you. It wasn't bad, but there was some that was just kind of like, there are some authors though from that anthology I'd be like, oh, I'd be interested in reading more from them because I like their writing style, even though I may not have liked the actual story, that sort of thing. So, and the audiobook that I finished, the other one at the very beginning of March, was the X Talk, which I saw got a lot of mixed reviews, and I can see why. I personally gave it a 4.5. I thought it was good and entertaining, and it wasn't too like graphic on the sexy times, but there's still something like missing, and I don't quite know what it was. It wasn't, I don't know. I have a hard time, I guess, really liking romance novels and stuff. I don't know, like, I'm not a big fan of, like, steamy scenes. Like, I'm like, oh, that kind of just throws me all out. I'm like, I'm not a big fan of this. Like, if it gets, like, detailed on what's happening, I'm like, I don't like it. This one didn't get, like, too detailed and graphic, but there's still parts where I was like, But I, like, was able to quickly get over that. Overall, I liked it. Shay and Dominic were good characters, pretty fun characters to listen to, and like you got angry at the people like Shay got angry at because there was a big old douchebag that you want to punch for his sexism. But overall, I liked it. I wouldn't say like, oh, it's the best book ever, but it's probably one of the better romances that I've read or listened to. Even though I haven't really read a lot, because I just don't choose books that are strictly romance. Like, if it has romance, as a part of like the storyline, sure, but if it's like the storyline is the romance, that's kind of like But of all the ones that I've read now, which is not that many, probably my favorite one so far. I'm gonna keep trying romances, see if I can find one I like, but it'll be a tough one. But that one's a good one, so I gave it a 4.5. Because there's just something missing. I don't know what it was, but just something. But now, into all the books physically I've read. There is one book I didn't mention at the beginning of my TBR because I didn't grab it initially, but it's here now, so it's a bonus. So I guess I'll start with that one, actually. And that is a Spindle Splintered. I think I gave this a 5. Super short. It's really good. It's a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. And yeah, it's a feminist retelling, by the way, which I love. There's also a couple feminist retellings in here, but this one is a good one. I did do a vlog with this one and 3 others that hopefully you'll see sometime once I edit it. It's gonna be a long one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna split in 2 parts or not, but this is a part of it. It was a super short, easy read. It was fun. It was a lot of like, I don't want to say like breaking fourth wall, but like it's very like I don't know, like there's like some pop culture references and like sarcasm that I personally liked. I don't know, some other people might think it's kind of like juvenile, but I don't know, I enjoyed it. And there are like illustrations, which makes it even shorter TBH. But I love the characters. I thought they were fun, interesting, kept me wanting to read it, and yeah, I liked it. The main character is someone who has a chronic disease. Not chronic disease. Illness. Basically she has only so much time left to live because of this illness. Usually takes people's lives at like on their 21st, 22nd birthday or something like that. Like a lot of the like people who have this disease don't live past a certain age. I'm trying to think where did it say? I don't know, I really like the writing style. I thought it was really nice, easy to read, quick. And like there was parts where it was like funny, parts of it that were just very good. Also some sapphic romance in this one, so I liked it. I don't know, some people didn't like it because it was too like, I don't know what the word is, but anyways. Let's talk about all the other ones I read for that vlog. So I read 3 other ones for that vlog. So this one is The Republic of Birds. This is a middle grade, and I love this book. I gave it a 5. It's a 5 out of 5. It's super easy to read, super quick. Got like right into it. I had fun. It's about a sister and her family that get exiled, or like reassigned to a place on the border of their country and the Republic of Birds, and they're at war with birds, and one of the sisters gets kidnapped, and so the other sister goes to try to save her, and in exchange for the sister she has to find an egg and give it to whoever is holding her sister hostage. And yeah, there's magic in here, there's adventure in here, it's great. It talks about Baba Yagas and their chicken leg houses, and it's great. It is very much about Eastern European, maybe more specifically Russian, like myth and fable, right? Are Baba Yagas specifically Russian? I know, witch ladies. So I really liked it. I don't know, super fun, quick read, and also the cover is beautiful. Like I don't know, I saw this last year and I was so intrigued by it just because of the cover. The colors of it the art of it is also beautiful. I don't know. I think it's one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen personally. I don't know, it really gets to me. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? I don't know, just looking at this, the cover still gets me. I think it's such a beautiful cover. The back is pretty too, but it's just this specific color of blue with like the purples and the pinks and the reds. I don't know, I just really like it. But yeah, it's great. It has some decent character development, like the one sister that goes to rescue the other one grows into who she is, and it's great. Great. Love it. One of the other ones I read was the Boneless Mercies, which is a loose kind of retelling of Beowulf, but gender bent. So it follows a band of women. I don't want to call them mercenaries, but they are called the Boneless Mercies because they would kind of do mercy killings. So people that had illnesses or old age or loneliness and that sort of thing, they would take their lives for small amounts of money. Like, they would get paid to do that. But then one day they're like, oh, we're kind of sick of this, and so they want to go and find this monster that has been terrorizing a kingdom and has been just destroying villages all across this kingdom, mainly targeting men first and then everybody else. But like, they'll kill everybody, but the king, if you know Beowulf, you know that there's a king that has been hiring people across lands to try to take down this beast. And yeah, I don't know. I thought this was really good. A lot of people didn't like this. People were saying it was too slow or whatever. I thought it was like a decent pace. It was pretty medium paced. I gave it a 5. I don't know. I really liked it. I liked the characters a lot. I liked the writing. I liked there's kind of some mystery here, and like, who can the main band of girls trust? Because there's like a little bit of magic here, a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of everything. All these kind of have some magic in it, because they're all like myth, legends, folklore, that sort of a thing. I really liked it. The ending, I think, was okay. Not my favorite ending, but it wasn't an ending that made me like hate the book. I thought it was like a fitting end to it. There was something I liked. And the beast in this is kind of not surprising, but maybe something that you wouldn't expect. And so then you kind of sympathize with the creature that is destroying this kingdom. I don't know, I really liked it. I had a good time reading it. I don't know. Kind of makes me want to reread Beowulf, but like, not reread Beowulf, but I don't know, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It is, it's like Norse-ish, right? Because, I mean, the land is Vorsland, so I'm pretty sure it's like Norse, right? I think Beowulf is Norse-ish, or I don't remember. Is it English? I don't know. I don't remember the origins of Beowulf, but yeah, I really like this book. I don't know, I like the reading of it. It definitely falls in line with all these other like retellings that I've been reading, and I liked it. I don't know. I love a feminist retelling. The last one is Medusa. Oh, I didn't say any of these authors. I'm so sorry. So Spindle Splintered is by Alix E. Harrow. The Republic of Birds, Jessica Miller. The Boneless Mercies, April Genevieve Tucholke. Now this one, which is Medusa by Jessie Burton. Illustrated by Olivia Lemonich-Gill. I don't know. I will write down all the books and authors down below so you can have an easier time finding it. This one, out of all 4 of those that I read for that vlog, was my favorite. I this one hits a little bit deeply. So there are illustrations, so it makes it quite a quick read, and like the spacing is quite large as well. Super quick read. It's a heavy book, but this one got me a little emotional. It does talk about Medusa, obviously, but it is a retelling, and yeah, if you know the story, there's a couple versions of Medusa out in the world about how she came to be. Some of it is she was born a Gorgon, some of it she was turned into a Gorgon. This one, she was turned into a Gorgon, and same thing with like her sisters. And yeah, it is a semi-difficult read if you are someone who has experienced sexual violence of any kind, or sexual harassment, that sort of a thing. So, content warnings on this bad boy, for sure. Like sexual assault, sexual violence, isolation, that kind of a thing. Or the content warnings. But I really did enjoy this. It made me a little emotional. Because it's, yeah. I know there's not much to say. I gave it a 5-star. So it's just a retelling of Medusa and like her meeting Perseus, who is, yeah. So it kind of talks about her and her life and her history, and then briefly touches upon like Perseus because like he's a pinnacle character in her story, and how she's trying to make connections with people again, and how it doesn't go as planned. Yeah, there's like some victim blaming and stuff in here as well, so just be cognizant of that. But I think it's a really well written retelling. I mean, the illustrations aren't my favorite. Like, I don't quite like the style, but I don't hate it at the same time. Like, it's not a style I would gravitate to, but it is nice still to have the illustrations. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it, but it's kind of a tough read at certain points once it describes the things that have happened to Medusa, so. But I really enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, it also talks about kind of reclaiming your power, and I really like that message. Okay. Whew. Now for the last ones. I'll do this one. I finally read The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I did read Mexican Gothic last year and really liked it, and I really like this one too. I gave it a 5-star. Some people didn't like it, but whatever. It is kind of like what's the word? Excuse me. Along the lines of like Jane Austen-esque, you know, old-timey. I would consider this a romance, I guess, but there is some magic in it, which I enjoyed. I don't know, do people call this oh, it's a sweeping fantasy of manner set in a world inspired by the Belle Epoque, Epoque, Epoque. Anyway, I wouldn't say it's like super fantasy heavy, but there's like a dash of magic in there, and I would consider it basically a romance. I guess this is the first like real like romance that I really enjoyed, because it felt like a little more than just romance. I don't know. It's very about interpersonal relationships and how things can go wrong, and there's a lot of conflict between certain characters. Like, you will really hate one character. Valerie is a great character to hate. She's just written so enragingly. It's amazing. Man, I hate her. But there is some really nice character development in this, I think. And I really liked Nina. She was very much like, I'm weird and I know it, and you cannot change me otherwise. Like, you can try. I can try to be this prim, proper woman that you want me to be, but dang it, I like bugs and stuff. Like, I'm weird, and let me do my weird things. You know, I'm not like a proper lady. Let me be a not proper lady. But I liked all the characters, well, except for Valerie. Fuck Valerie. But I think the characters are just so well done, in my opinion, that it kept the story very interesting, and it kept you wanting to know, how is this going to pan out? It is multi-perspective, so if you're not a fan of multi-perspective, watch out. All of these were single perspective up until here, so I think they all were, yeah. So this is multi-perspective. Actually, the next two after this one's also like multi-perspective. So if you're not into that, or POV, sorry, multi-POV perspective, same thing. Yeah. It might not be for you, but I think it keeps the story going, and it kind of makes you wonder and makes you really angry or anxious and like nervous about what you know versus what that character knows. Like you'll have like Hector's perspective, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that totally, and then all of a sudden you get Nina's, and you're like, no, you don't understand, that's not what that is, like, Valerie's manipulating you, or something. And then you get Valerie, and then you're just like, this dumb bitch, I fucking hate you. Like, she's evil, she's so evil. And then you go back to like, I guess maybe I shouldn't say Valerie's evil. She's a very good antagonist. She's kind of evil. I would say she's kind of evil. But I don't know, it's so interesting, and it's great. I don't want to say it's like a love triangle. It's a love web of complications. And the ending is great. It makes you really nervous. There's a point closer to the end, the ending parts of this, where you're like, oh no, something not good gonna happen. Something not good's gonna happen. And something not good does happen, but it kind of resolves it in the end, and then it's great. So I don't know, I really liked it. I think it's a really fun read. It's a really quick read. Yeah, if you want a little bit of romance, but not a romance, I would say this is a good one. I liked it a lot. Next, one that was super hyped up is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. This is a thriller? Is it a thriller? Mystery thriller? I loved this. I think I gave it a 5. It's super quick read. Once again, multi-POV. So, like, you'll get... It doesn't tell you, like, on the top, like, who you're getting, but you'll get it once you read, like, the first, like, sentence. That's the word I'm looking for. And it follows a couple teachers. It happens in a school, or it's in a school setting. And so Teddy Crutcher is, like, one of the main people. There's a Zach who's a main person. Who else is a main? Courtney's a main character, but she doesn't really get a chapter POV. Sonia gets some POVs. Who else? And one of the other teachers, I can't remember his name. He's like the gym teacher, gets the POV. Couple chapters. Frank, that's the word. Name. I think those are the main people. Sometimes it does switch halfway through a chapter. Chapters are like 4 pages, if that. But sometimes there is a switch, like I think in this chapter. Yeah. One of these chapters, I feel like it's what. No, maybe it doesn't. Just kidding. I don't think they switch mid chapters. I feel like one of them did. Anyways, yeah, it's really good. All these chapters are super short, so like chapter 45 goes from 189 to 192. So they're all super quick. Some of them are just, you know, a front and back page. Some of them are front, back, and maybe one more. I liked it. Keeps the mystery going. It makes you wonder, is this person gonna get caught? Makes you nervous, like what's gonna happen? I will say the ending kind of made me a little bummed out. Once again, not a great ending, but not an ending that's gonna make me be like, oh, the book is trash. I still like the book a lot. Just the ending was maybe, I wish there was maybe just like a little bit more to the ending. I don't know. Characters are all really entertaining. Teddy is kind of like a love to hate him kind of a character. Like, there's some things you're like, well, you know what? Kind of making sense here. You know? It kind of makes sense. Like, he's not a good person, but he has some good points. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know, it's fun. It's like a private school. They're like, it's a bunch of rich kids. So, like, you're kind of like, rich kids, but some, like, the teachers are kind of, like, uppity, pompous, maybe, I should say. But so is Teddy's also, like, pompous, who's, like, the main teacher that gets the chapters, but it's very interesting. And then also, there's, like, Teddy's wife gets mentioned in here, and it's interesting to see his relationship with her and how it also has changed or changes throughout once you read more through it, and you're like, oh, yeah, it's good. It's good. I really like it. Teddy is a great character to hate as well. Just saying. You're gonna hate him. You're gonna hate him. So the last book I read was The Starless C, which was a super hyped up book. I did do a whole reading vlog on this. Hopefully it'll be up sometime soon. So you can kind of get my, like, in-depth feelings about this. I believe I gave this just a 4-star because there was just something missing. Like I said in my vlog, which will be up someday, it's really slow. It's a very slow read. It's a thick book. It is a quite slow read until closer to maybe the last third or last fourth. It gets quite a lot faster. But it's a beautiful book. It's basically, it is, a lot of people describe it as a story about stories. And I would agree. It's like stories within stories within stories. It's a lot of layers, like an onion kind of a thing. It's beautifully written. It's very wordy and flowery, so if that's not your jam, this might not be your jam either. This does have multi-POV, and also it has other stories kind of cut in throughout, in between your, like, main story. So, like, at the beginning you get, like, a couple stories from Sweet Sorrows, and then you get introduced to, like, your main character, which is, like, Zachary Ezra Rollins. And then you get another snippet of Sweet Sorrows, and then you get more from Zach, and then you get some other stuff, like Fortunes and Fables, and then you get back to Zach, and then further on in here, you get another main character, and you get a few chapters of his perspective, and then you get stuff like this page, where it's just like, you get interspersed, and it's very beautiful. It is a very wordy thing, where the writing really creates vivid imagery for the reader, if you can see that vivid imagery. Like I mentioned in my vlog for this, I think I have a level of aphantasia, so I can't visualize pictures in my brain. Like I can't see what is being described. Like I know what some things are based off of things I've already physically seen, so I use those as reference, but like I can't see pictures of a completely imagined object or setting or person. Like I can't see it. When someone's like, oh, that's not what I thought this character would look like when there's like a movie adaptation, I'm like, I have no clue what that person was supposed to look like in the book anyway, so. You know, like I can only really use like references of physical things that I've seen. So like there was, I don't know, like describing like a feather. I'm like, I know what feathers look like, but I don't know what this particular feather would look like. You know what I mean? Or like this door, like I know what doors look like, but I don't know what this door looks like. Even though you're giving me a lot of words to try to describe it. Or like this cavern, like I've been into a cave before, but I can't picture a cave with like crystals all over. Like, I know I've been to a place called Crystal Caves, but there wasn't a lot of crystals. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very hard for people who can't visualize in their brain to really enjoy. For me, it was really tough to enjoy because it was so, once again, for me, unnecessarily wordy. So, like, I didn't need all these details and descriptors because I'm like, I can't see this. This is not helping me at all. For a specific person, I'm sure this is a wonderful book and everyone loves it. Everyone thinks it's like so, I don't know, everyone really loves it except for like, okay, one person I kind of follow did not love it, but a lot of people that I follow love it. And I'm just like, I get why, because if I could see the pictures in my brain, I would probably put this much higher up on my like it, you know, list. Like I'm sure I've put a lot of books higher up. Like I'd probably rank a lot of books higher if I could actually see the pictures in my brain. But since I can't, I'm like, these are just like a bunch of unnecessary words for me to get this story rolling. I understand that this story is supposed to be kind of slow because you're supposed to really revel in the story and really take your time in the story and understand the nuances and everything. I'm just like, man, like let's get this story rolling. Like I don't need to know what the food looks like. We just gotta go. Come on, I don't need to know what his room looks like. Let's get going. You know what I mean? I don't need to know what this character, like I don't need to know what this character like is wearing. I don't care. Let's go. But that's a me issue. Maybe other people, probably everyone, really appreciates the flowery wordiness of it because I get the point of it. It's supposed to like, it's really trying to like enjoy the moment, and I think that's a big message. It's just like enjoy the moment for what it is, and don't try to like rush it, or don't try to like hold on to a past that cannot stay the way you want it to stay. Like you have to accept the change, but you can't rush your change, kind of a thing. Live in the now, embrace it, and all that stuff. But I think that's one of the messages, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. But I get the hype. I understand it. But the hype did not make me love this. I just think it's tough to read when you are someone who can't fully enjoy the imagery and details. I also mentioned in my vlog that this is one of those books I feel like you'd have to reread again to pick up on some things that you might have missed, because there's a lot of mystery and it's kind of convoluted. So I feel like I'd have to reread everything to kind of pick up on the hints and teasing kind of things that happened in the beginning, so I'm not as surprised or confused going throughout, because there was a lot of things I'm like, oh, now I get why this story was included. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, man, I missed that. Oh, you know, like I felt like an idiot throughout reading this because like I just didn't get all the details and everything. So I feel like this is something I'd have to reread to kind of understand, like, oh, now this makes sense. Like, especially like this. Like, the very, very beginning, I'm just like, oh, I didn't know. Ooh. But, like, I still don't get it. Like, I still have a billion and one questions that were not answered. So I think I would have to reread it. But I didn't like it enough for me to want to reread it. Maybe in the future someday I'll want to reread it. But as of right now, I'm gonna pass. But I think there is definitely an audience for this book that will absolutely adore it. Obviously, that's why there's so much hype about it. I'm not that audience. I don't know. I think I do want to read the Night Circus because I like the way she writes, more or less. Once again, granted, I kind of wish it was less lyrical, wordy, flowery. Because I like caught myself like skipping some words because I'm like, oh, this is like pointless to like describe it. Like, this is not gonna help me. This isn't gonna like push the story forward. It's just like you sitting here describing like this room filled with candles. Like, okay, I don't care. I do not care. Tell me the important details, not the like ambiance details. You know, the atmosphere details. I don't need that. But there is a lot of mystery in here. I think it's really good. I think it's really interesting, intriguing. But it's not 100% for me. But I do want to try reading The Night Circus because that also gets a lot of hype. And I put that on like my Libby like to read wish list a long time ago. Probably a year ago at this point. So funnily enough, like I think I added this. I added the Starlet C after I added The Night Circus onto my like to read wish list kind of a thing, but I read the Starlet C before I read the Night Circus, so there's that. I'll probably read the Night Circus someday, not right now, just because I don't know if I can commit to chunky, flowery writing right now, but I did still like it. I would recommend it to certain people, but not to everyone. Like, of all these books, I guess I wouldn't really recommend these to everyone as a whole. I found enjoyment out of them, but I feel like maybe other people just wouldn't. Of all these books, I would say Medusa and For Your Own Good are probably the two that I would recommend to like everybody. But otherwise, all these other ones I'm like, you have to be a kind of person to like want to read these kinds of a thing. Anywho, that's it. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Then 8, 9-ish. And I finished another one. It's like 9.5 books, possibly 10 if I finish Bestiary. Who knows on that one. But yeah, this month was another heavy month of reading. For real, have got to slow it down. I also have a bunch of books that I should probably read that I own. So like, I'm staring at it right now. I have not finished The Night Guest still. And I have not finished The Atlas 6. So those two I think should probably be on my next month TBR because I should probably. But that's all I have for my wrap up. Let me know what you have read in the month of March. There we go. I would love to know what you read and what you've liked. If you've read any of the books I've mentioned here, please let me know how you feel about them. I really like to know other people's perspectives on these books. Like, oh, I hated that book. Or, oh, I love that book. You know, I like to know. I like knowing people's different tastes and everything. If you have any book recommendations for me to read, let me know down below as well because I love getting more book recs. Seriously. I read Mexican Gothic because my friend told me that it was good. And you know what? She was right. It was amazing. So if you have any recs, I will check them out. Like, whether it's a genre I love or not. Actually, I don't even know if I really love genres. I'm not particular. I'll say that. I'm not very particular about anything. So I will read whatever you suggest. because I love everything. As you can see, it was kind of all over the place. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you joining me, reading things, telling me book things. Yeah, and all that good stuff. I'm gonna probably play some video games because I read a lot. So, I keep looking at the book I've been reading since like December, so I gotta get on it. Maybe I'll do that instead. Maybe I'll finally friggin' finish that. Who knows? But I will see you all next time. And yeah, that's it. Bye.